Everybody a chance to meet in a much more relaxed environment, and we can really enjoy each other's company and see each other for who we really are.
The annual National Night Out aims to educate about crime prevention and strengthen police and community relations through fun events taking place all over the nation. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
This is not a good week for ousted White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci. Not only did he lose his job in the Trump administration, but the Harvard Law School's alumni directory lists him as dead. The directory mailed to alumni this week had an asterisk next to Scaramucci's name, indicating he had died. Scaramucci is a 1989 graduate of Harvard. The Harvard Law School has acknowledged the directory error in a statement and has apologized to Scaramucci. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
If you're trying to prevent home foreclosure, you need a law firm with extensive experience representing clients in protecting their homes from foreclosure. The Goodman Law Firm is a nationwide team of mortgage mitigation attorneys that provides legal advice and expertise you can trust. Our nationwide network includes local of-counsel foreclosure attorneys to represent you during the mortgage mitigation process. The Goodman firm has represented homeowners across the nation in resolving their troubled mortgages. We have the experience and the knowledge you can count on to best represent your interests. The banks have attorneys fighting to protect their interests, and so should you. Call the Goodman Law Firm at 888-800-6030. Take control of your mortgage situation today. Contact us at 888-800-6030 or through our website at arnoldgoodmanlaw.com.
It's time to make the Tri-City Center in Redlands a regular part of your weekly shopping experience. Tri-City is home to a wide assortment of quality businesses. Soon, the Tri-City Center will become home to Ocean Aquatics. Ocean Aquatics will offer a wide variety of exotic tropical fish, along with food, accessories, and tanks of all shapes and sizes for every home or business. The Tri-City Center is located just off the I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Visit the Tri-City Center today and discover why it's called the Mall with a Heart. Psst! Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you know where you are? Well, you've done it now. You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station. So expect the unexpected.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side, where the birds and the bees survive. Right before me, my newfound hippie side once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Would your children like to see Mother Nature's side?
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Smart Health Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Elaine McFadden, and I'm a registered dietitian with a master's in public health, and I'm here for you. Yeah, we're here for you today. We're going to be bringing you a lot of different information that could make a big difference in your life. And I tell you, I just look forward to this time that I get to have with you guys every single week, because I know I have an opportunity to maybe change a life today. And if you're listening to our show, I hope you're going to stay with us for the entire hour, because we're going to be jumping around, covering several different topics, and all of these affect our lives. They affect the quality of our lives, whether and our risk of getting a disease and dying early death, the things that we're exposed to, what's happening to our healthcare system. There are just so many different topics that we're going to be covering today. What's going on with pesticides. We're even going to hit on grass-fed butter a little bit. Just all different kinds of things that can impact your life in a positive way or a negative way. And if we have listeners that are tuning in that are regular Smart Health Talk listeners, we want to thank you so much for joining us today and sticking with us. And I hope that you've really seen a big difference in your life that since you've been listening to Smart Health Talk, and I hope you've been sharing some of that information with some of your family and friends, because that we have to teach each other, because none of this is talked about in mainstream media, but you hear it right here on Smart Health Talk, because we're not censored over here at KCAA. We bring you all the facts, information that you're not getting from mainstream. And so I hope you're going to stay tuned, because we'll be going over some things, and I want you to be saying, hey, I just learned something new today. I didn't know that. And I apologize if, maybe I'm not going to be your favorite talk show host. I'm not necessarily here to be your friend. I am here to save your life. That's right. And, some people like you, some people don't, but I hope you're still going to stay tuned and stick it through, even if I'm not your favorite talk show host. But I'm hoping that I could be, because I hope you're going to feel the love. Yeah, feel the love that we have coming through here. Gosh, where should we start? Oh my gosh. Well, let's start with some Latina teens that we've been actually looking at them. Studying them. They had this group of teens up in Salinas put on a wristband that was able to collect information on toxins that they were exposed to. And they also kept track if they were close to a farm. And right here in San Bernardino County and other counties all over the country, especially in Hawaii and California, and then I would guess Florida and other agricultural areas, we have schools that are situated right near farms. And what that means that our kids are being exposed to all kinds of toxins they wouldn't normally be exposed to. So take a guess. How many toxins do you think was one of the totals that they got from these 100 girls between the ages of 14 and 16 that were monitored for 1 week? Try 69 different pesticides. These teenagers were exposed to 69 pesticides in 1 week. This is happening to our children, and those of you listening that have school-age children that are attending a school near a farm, you should be outraged. You should be worried, because this is serious. These pesticides are hormone disruptors. They cause cancer. They lower the IQ of our children. They're responsible for birth defects. I mean, on and on. There are so many risks associated with these pesticides. And I'm really hoping that those of you out there that maybe you come across an insect around your home, you see a spider, you see a black widow, something like that, that doesn't mean that you have to make a phone call to the exterminator. Please think twice about this. And if you ever do call an exterminator, ask them what pesticide they're going to spray around your home. Look up the pesticide. Type in what are the risks associated with that pesticide and read up on it. By the time you're done, you're probably going to be thinking, no friggin' way am I exposing my family to this. And we have to think that when we have an exterminator come and they spray, they're not just spraying our home, they're spraying all of our neighbors. And if you're going to do something like that, you have to warn your neighbors and give them a chance to prepare, to shut their windows and protect their family against the pesticides, because there's a good chance the person spraying it is going to be in a hazmat suit. And, houses are within a few feet apart. And when we have problems, try asking your neighbors how they're dealing with it first before you just automatically make that call or grab a bottle of Roundup. And I'd like to encourage everyone out there, in case you didn't know, Roundup's on our Prop 65 list as cancer causing. Yes, this stuff that's sitting in your garage that you've been buying and spraying around your home is cancer causing. And I advise you don't even use another drop of it. Work on disposing of it. We're going to try to have a collection day where people can bring their toxic pesticides and just say goodbye, and that's it. Not even buy anymore. There's no reason we should be risking our family's health by exposing them to this, or our family and friends and neighbors. Now, a really important thing came out of this study of these 100 teenage girls. Besides learning that they could be exposed to as much as 69 pesticides in 1 week, there was some things that they found on how to reduce the pesticide exposure in your home. And these are kind of going to come out from left field. They're going to be a little bit surprising to you. And do you think you can guess? What would you think some of the things? Maybe keeping your home clean. Yeah, those that clean their home more often had less pesticide exposure. A biggie, something that was huge that you would never think of, is a doormat. Yeah, a doormat. By having a doormat to catch different chemicals that are on shoes before they're brought into the home, was able to greatly reduce the pesticide exposure. But you think about it, you could do one better and just totally remove your shoes and not even bring shoes in. And I try to tell landscapers in my neighborhood that I talk to that, you don't realize that you're bringing your work home with you. People that do this for a living, first of all, I highly recommend, if you're doing this for a living and you are listening to this, I would challenge any employer that's asking you to spray Roundup, it's cancer causing, or any of these pesticides. It's really hard for people because they don't want to lose their job. And so I really would like to appeal to the landscape companies out there. I saw that one of the landscape companies was going to spray right where I walk my dog. I talked to the person. I called the landscape company. I asked them, I said, please don't spray. It's cancer causing. You're subjecting your employees to this. You're subjecting people in the neighborhood to this. What do I see? There they are the next day out there spraying the pesticide. So apparently we have not gotten through. And I tell you I just want to mention, I want to get into the toxicity of some of these, some of the new data that's coming out. But first I want to tell you the other thing that you could do besides cleaning your house and having a doormat that was very, very protective. And that is getting rid of those flea collars. And if those of you that listen to our show, you probably remember that I mentioned flea collars last year. The study just came out the past week, and it just reinforced that I was giving you guys some good information. That's right. You guys are getting good information here on Smart Health Talk, because it turns out that flea collars, first of all, just stopping the use of them. They're pure pesticides. You're putting them on your dog. You're exposing your family. You're not even supposed to touch your dog for days after you put it on. Those pills that you're giving your dog, those are poison. They're poison. Dr. Pleckner, if you go to our website, or you can go to our YouTube, we have Dr. Pleckner. He's been a vet for 50 years. That's right. He said Head and Shoulders shampoo is better for to get rid of fleas. So it kind of tells you there's maybe some things that are pretty strong in Head and Shoulders shampoo, but apparently that's a good alternative. please don't buy flea collars. You are exposing your family to a very, very toxic pesticide, and you are poisoning your pet that is part of your family and that you love so very much. And you don't want to see them suffer with cancer. Okay? And please share this information with other people that you know. Okay, that was really important. Now, I'm going to kind of jump over to healthcare right now. I know that there's been a bill that's been introduced by Bernie Sanders where they're trying to crack down on the prescription drugs. You know, we have so many people dying from these drugs. If you were listening at the top of our show, we had a promo playing about all of the opioids that people are taking, the heroin deaths that are happening, the prescription drug deaths that are happening, and these drugs can also make people have suicidal thoughts. And we've lost a couple of incredible musicians just in the past week or so from suicide. And you just have to wonder, you know, our brain has a delicate chemical balance. And we start playing with all of these different drugs and people self-prescribing and all different kinds of combinations. And they just think they have it under control. Prince thought he had it under control. He thought he knew his body and he knew what pills to take and how much, and he was going to be fine. Well, one misstep, and that's it. It's over forever. And I tell you, these drugs are not, it's not worth it to mess around with them. I highly advise people to try cannabis oil. If you are experiencing pain, you need to try other things. Cannabis oil is something that we don't have people dropping dead from, okay? It's like very, very safe. It has helped so many different people that I have talked to, people that you would never think, from 80-year-old grandmother to a woman that's been suffering from migraines her entire life. And getting off of these opioids and these prescription drugs. I mean, so many people are dependent on prescriptions, and it's such a huge burden to our entire healthcare system. Things that could be prevented. You know, on our website, you could type this into, or you want to write it down. It's a transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS. And we have a huge section on our website. You can find it on our homepage, smarthealthtalk.com. And this is like an MRI for your brain. It's alternative to meds. A lot of people are coming to that webpage on our website. They are very interested in this TMS therapy because it's non-invasive. It's helping wake up people's brain that has fallen asleep. People that no matter what mental health meds they're taking, they never feel right. This therapy is helping to make people right. It is getting them off drugs completely. It is actually doctors that I have talked to, these psychiatrists, which of course, you know, a lot of training. They're real doctors with a lot of extra training. They have been able to get they say they've actually been able to cure patients with this therapy. Transcranial magnetic stimulation. It's on our homepage, smarthealthtalk.com. You'll find lots of other topics on our homepage. Please click around and see some of the information that we have. We have a lot on our website. You're interested in recycling. If you like seafood and you're wondering, like, what seafood should I be buying? It's a totally different ballgame today when it comes to seafood. We all have to be smart shoppers because we got like some major thunder happening here. Major thunder. It sounds like the sky is falling. Anyway, we have seafood that multiplies quickly. And we have seafood that we have fished to oblivion. Snapper, there's hardly any left. A lot of fish that you're ordering is not even what you're ordering. It's a cheaper kind of fish. You need to get educated. I highly recommend never ever buy farm fish. It's full of viruses, bacteria, parasites, dioxins, weird fat. They give them vaccines. I mean, these farm fish are just so destructive. They've created dead zones all over the world where nothing can live anymore. Farm fish, it takes so many resources to make 1 pound of salmon, farm salmon. Where the wild fish, they go feed themselves in the ocean. We're having to go take the little fish out of the ocean to feed these farm salmon, and we're giving them GMO food that has like dye in it to turn their flesh pink because it really be gray, and they've just bred these viruses and bacteria in these holding pens, which is not natural whatsoever. And if you can actually tell the difference just by looking at farm salmon. And I get really upset when I see articles that are talking about wild salmon and then they have a picture of farm salmon. It's like, you need to teach people what wild salmon really looks like. I'm hoping that we're making headway with our salmon here in California because we built so many dams that the salmon couldn't even get to the higher up rivers where it was cooler and that they could spawn and die. We've pretty much taken, all of this away. And so then we become dependent on this farm salmon system. We really need to rethink a lot of different things. But in a way, we have to look at this as an exciting thing because we can do better. We can learn from our mistakes and do better with so many different things in our environment. Okay, universal health care. Universal health care is something that is recommended by Warren Buffett. He is saying that it's good for business, it's good for Americans. It gives us an opportunity to go and negotiate contracts. It's like we have the power. We tell these pharmaceutical companies, you want to do business with us, you're going to give us the best deal, or we're walking and we're going to go find someone else. This is power, people, the power of the people. Right now, we're giving insurance companies billions of dollars that they're pocketing as profits. They're paying CEOs as much as $200 million a year. The average is $20 million. They use only 70% of the money for care, where Medicare uses 98%. What are they using the money for? They are using the money to find the sick people. Now, I just created a new section on our website. If you go to news and then you see public health, you click on that. We have a public health blog. Now, this new section that we just created, it's insurers have history of abandoning the sick. So why are they leaving? Because what do we hear all the time about our health care? We hear that, because of Obamacare, these insurers are leaving. You know what I say? I said, bye-bye. We don't need you, insurer. Just get the heck out of here, because we can have our own system where we cut you out, save billions of dollars, have plenty of money to provide health care for our whole country, and we don't have people suffering and living in fear and going bankrupt because of health care expenses. They actually go and take care of themselves and go to the doctor on a regular basis, and we use public health and prevention techniques that end up saving even more money because people aren't getting diabetes. They're not on expensive meds and require all this care. They're not getting amputations. They're not on disability. There's so many different expenses associated with these problems that we have at epidemic proportions. Epidemic. We have here all these other countries that have universal health care. They live longer. Their babies don't die like our babies are dying. They don't have people going bankrupt. And I mean, just think about it. All it takes, someone can work their entire life. They pay their health care bills on time. They save their money. They pay their mortgage on time. They do everything right. They work for the same company, get a retirement plan. Then they get one devastating disease. And what happens? You want to keep that person that you love alive. You want to pay for whatever health care is necessary to keep them alive. And so you're willing to use all your savings, sell your house, do whatever you have to do to save that person's life. Everything you worked for your entire life is gone. Your credit's gone, your savings is gone, your house is gone, you're in debt. This is what so many people are facing. Over half the bankruptcies are to do with healthcare. How can we solve this? Quit giving billions of dollars to insurance companies. Use the power of the people and the big numbers to negotiate contracts where we get the best deal possible. These pharmaceutical companies cannot screw us over. Generic drugs have saved us like $175 trillion or some outrageous amount just by having access to generic drugs. There are laws right now that block the ability to stop pharmaceutical companies from controlling a patent because they want to control it as long as they can, and they got all kinds of tricks that they use up their sleeve that extends the period of time that they get to control the drug and charges outrageous amounts of money, and we can't make a generic form. When we make a generic form, it is saving us trillions of dollars. And I tell you, just the Department of Defense alone is spending billions of dollars just on pharmaceuticals. And I really wonder how much effort is made to get people off of drugs, or if it's just so much easier just to be putting people right on drugs. So, you may have heard that, these insurers are leaving town, so people don't even have one insurer to provide for them. Some, they only have one, and they try to make it like Obamacare is the reason for this. I would like to propose that's not true. First of all, we know there were lots of rural areas that only had one option. They only had one option before Obamacare ever even started. And they loved that. I tell you, these insurers, they love it. They got a monopoly. You played Monopoly. You know what that's like. Hey, you can jack things up, charge whatever you want, take advantage of people. Heck yeah. They were loving it, okay? They like being the only game in town. But I thought, well, why are they leaving? So I started really going and doing some research. And if you go to our Smart Health Talk homepage, you can actually look and go along with me, because I put a link right on our homepage. It says cancer deaths, and I did some layovers. So what I first wanted to look at was, okay, if I was an insurance company, and we already know that the habit of insurance companies, they take where Medicare uses 2% for admin costs, insurance companies are using 30%. So what the heck are they spending that 30% on? Well, they're spending it on finding out who is sick or is going to be sick, because they want to get rid of those people. They don't want sick people. They want healthy people. They want to get rid of the sick people. Okay, we know that. We know that's how insurance companies operate. So let's start off with that thought. They want to get rid of sick people. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go get myself some stats. And I'm going to look at where the sick people are. And then I'm going to go look if that's where the insurers are leaving. Because if I was an insurance company and I want to get rid of the sick people, I'm going to look at the stats. Where are all the people that have cancer? And you may think this stuff is scattered all around, and no. We have clusters of cancer in our country. And if you can find that right on our homepage, click on that and you can look at the whole map and see where these clusters are. And I guarantee, I started going and I go, okay, I can see where the cancer is. Then I went and I looked at the map of where these insurers are leaving, where there's only one option or no options. And when you lay it over the cancer map of the United States and where the clusters are, guess what? You definitely see a huge pattern on where there's hardly any insurers and there's high cancer rates. Because they got a lot of sick people there. And those insurers are like, hey, they got a high percentage of sick people here. Why do we even want to waste time in this area? They got too many sick people. They expect us to cover everybody. We don't want to cover the sick people. They cost us money. That takes away from our profits. Okay? So you really start to see a pattern. Then I started looking at, okay, what about the chlorpyrifos, which has been in the news. This is made by Dow. We were getting rid of it because it destroys the brains of our children before they're even born. They're born with disabilities. They're born with autism. They're born with a lower IQ, all kinds of behavior problems. Can't even connect with them emotionally. Just so sad. After exposure to this pesticide, we know this. We know it's true. Yet, the government, even though we had everything in place to get rid of this pesticide, this horrible pesticide, the Trump administration is allow its continued use. In other words, we're going to continue to poison our babies and disable them. All right? Makes a lot of sense, right? This is what makes America great, right? High percentage of autistic kids, all kinds of behavior problems, sick people like crazy, a huge healthcare burden. Yeah, this really makes our country great, to be weak and sick. And this is something that I am going to fight against, because I happen to love my country and the people in it. I do not want them to suffer. I want to have a country that's strong and healthy and thinking clearly, not addicted to drugs. There's 2 countries in the world that allow drug commercials, New Zealand and the United States. We listen to commercial after commercial, making us think that these drugs are normal, that all of this is normal, to just cure everything, to solve a problem with a pill. It is not. That should be the absolute last choice. You do not want to be addicted to these pills. You do not want to have them running your life. You cannot live without them. I personally don't want anything to control me to that level. I may be in that position someday, but I fight it. And I tell you, I've been doing quite as much as I wanted to do with my radio show the past couple of months, because I've been getting my booty out there and getting some exercise, and it is hard, especially at my age when you hit 60. I tell you, trying to get back into shape, I advise you don't get out of shape, okay? I never want to get out of shape again. It is like I've been so tired and so sleepy, but just pushing myself little by little, just fighting, because that's what life is about, people. It's not all about everything's all happy and feel good all the time. Life is about pain. It's about fighting. Because you know what? That's what's rewarding at the end of the day. To know that you can do these things, that you can make these accomplishments. Take it on. Take on that challenge of getting strong again, feeling good about yourself again, feeling healthy and with energy. How about that? So you get up in the morning, it's like, yeah, today's a good day. I got a bunch of stuff I'm going to get done. I mean, when was the last time that you felt like that? I highly advise you to think about it. Okay. So I looked at, I was looking at like the glyphosate, the first of all, the brain the brain-destroying pesticide, the chlorpyrifos. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I'm trying. Okay, then when we look at just the cancer deaths and we see that we lay that over and we see, yes, where they are getting rid of insurers are where the clusters are of cancer cases. Then we looked at glyphosate, which is the number one most used pesticide in the country. We now have a bunch of stuff. Brandon, do you have the court thing? Okay, we're gonna play a few things for you guys. Okay, first of all, we had some big time legislation happen, and I'm going to give you a rundown on what's happening with that. Okay, we're working on it. That's right. We got some court cases that we're going to be going over, and these are pretty important court cases. This is the law, people. This is the law, and it's dictating a lot of things that happen in our country and happen to you. I mean, did you ask to be slowly poisoned every day with glyphosate? Something that is now on the cancer-causing list in California. I guarantee we knew it was cancer-causing decades ago. It has been covered up. We have poison papers that are now available to everyone that were collected by a woman starting in the 70s about all kinds of things that are going on to subject us to poisons, to pesticides that we know are bad. They ignore it. We have the Forest Service spraying pesticides like crazy. You wouldn't believe it. They do clear cut, and then they plant trees, and then they spray the trees with these heavy-duty pesticides because they don't want anything but the tree to grow. We don't even have real forests anymore. They kill everything. And these are the worst pesticides of all, okay? So we have some big-time court cases going on in Washington. We have them coming after the logging companies, the pesticide companies for spraying all of these pesticides. And there was a big decision made where Washington State's going to be able to take this to court at the state level instead of the federal level. This is to their advantage. This is what they wanted, so they won. So this is one big court case that just happened that we were able to get some decision on. Another big court case that happened, well, we still have the one pending. But, oh yeah, and I wanted to say, besides the one poison papers that we had from this woman who had been collecting them since the 1970s and has all these dirty secrets from the pesticide companies and just what they were up to on how they work together. That we have the pesticide companies working with the EPA, working with scientists. We have the Monsanto being ghostwriters for a lot of bills that are being introduced by politicians. And now we knew this stuff was probably happening. Now we got proof. We got proof big time, because not only do we have her papers, but we have a bunch of other Monsanto papers that are adding questions of regulatory collusion and scientific mischief. Yeah, all this stuff has been going on. And so the bottom line is, these people have been conspiring to allow something that is toxic to you, toxic to our families, toxic to our environment, poisoning our food, poisoning our pets, poisoning our farm animals, our environment, and getting away with it. Lying. Every single thing Monsanto has made has been toxic to our environment, to the tune of maybe taking hundreds of years to go away. And we think that we can trust them. We can never trust them. They have lied about everything, and they have lied about Roundup, and you're eating it every day on your food if you're not buying organic choices. You are slowly being poisoned. Couples are wondering, why can't we have a baby? Why is my son autistic? Why am my child having all of these health problems? I mean, so many things are happening and people are wondering, why do I not feel right? Why am I tired all the time? You're being poisoned. Okay, none of this is normal. Not feeling like that, not normal. Okay, so these people have obviously been lying to it. We have all these documents because what happened was we have thousands of litigation of from people that have cancer or died of cancer from Roundup. They are now suing Monsanto over this, many of them non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so we have all these people suing, and the lawyers were able to get all of these documents from Monsanto, along with emails, texts, some other things too. And what they did, the lawyers did, is they put it all on their website for everyone to see. And inside of these documents is some shocking information. I am so glad I've been choosing organic. The thing is, I've been doing this show for 7 years because I want that for our listeners. I want that for everybody. But you have to fight for it. I go to the farmer's market, but I get to go visit my family. I get to go visit these cool farmers that I love. They feed me incredible food. They do all this hard work to make that happen. And I love giving them my money. It feels great. I'm supporting these local families, and I'm not feeding the monster. I'm not feeding these huge corporations that don't deserve one single dollar as far as I'm concerned. I will not buy anything from them unless I'm absolutely desperate. Otherwise, I do not want to give them one single dollar that belongs to me. I get to decide that. That is the most powerful thing of all, who you give your dollars to, because we can make these companies go away. Okay, now some of you may know that it is good to, do we have the butter clip, Brandon? We're going to play a little clip with Zen Honeycutt from Moms Across America. She went down to New Zealand and talked to some farmers down there. And so many of us think, oh, it's just fine to buy something grass-fed if it's not organic, because why would they spray the grass? Well, they do spray the grass. And Zen explains how that goes down. Go ahead and play that, Brandon. You had to do it at at 13 seconds in.
And they're even spraying it on the fields in some places where they feed the grass-fed beef and sheep, the lambs that are fed grass. They spray it first. I can't say everywhere, but I saw a farm where he admitted that they had sprayed the grass with Roundup in order to kill the old grass because the new grass was considered more nutritious. So then these animals are now eating grass that has glyphosate residues on them. And that's why Monica Kruger showed in her study in Germany that even the grass-fed cattle had residues of glyphosate. I believe this is why, because they are spraying the grass, the soil of the grass before they plant. It's very disturbing. The hundreds of millions of gallons of these toxic chemicals are being sprayed on our streets, our farms, our sidewalks, the sides of the roads. I mean, just our food.
I am so glad that you said that.
Slowly poisoning and killing our planet. That's what's happening. It's very, very disturbing.
Okay, that was Zen Honeycutt from Moms Across America, and that's just a little reminder. We have to choose organic products, and those, please trust organic. That symbol that you see on the package means that it's absolutely positively non-GMO. All organic products are non-GMO. It does not have toxic pesticides in it. I think it tastes better. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Of course, not all farms are the absolute awesomest farms that that we have, but the pesticides, that's really important to me. I do not want them in my body. So that's just one thing. Now, those of you that have been following Standing Rock, there's been, we're talking about legislation, there has been a big win by the people, the tribes, with Standing Rock. The judge agreed that Trump was hasty in his decision to allow the pipeline to be continued. There was no environmental studies. We've said this over and over again. So they won a court case, and then it turns out they may not even build the pipeline. Because now what's happening is the demand for oil is going down. And so they don't really even have customers to put oil that they can run their oil through the pipeline. Because they got to sell, moving oil for different companies to pay for it. And they're finding that the customers just aren't there. So who knows? Maybe we won just by stringing this thing out. But the bottom line is there never was an environmental study. But actually Trump and his group is working on legislation where no president will be able to stop a pipeline again. They don't want that to happen where Obama was able to stop it. This, of course, is for the oil companies. These decisions are all being made for corporations, everyone, not for people. This is all in the corporate favor, not in people favor. They're not looking out for us. They're looking out for big corporate. And that's just what our country does. And they are spending billions and billions of dollars protecting oil interests in other countries, protecting Monsanto's interests in other countries. And really, what are we getting out of it? We really have to start asking ourselves that, because I don't see where there's that much benefit to us. We could be spending that money on so many other things. Okay, so we know that Trump is working on this anti-climate orders into law. We were talking about Standing Rock and the Indian reservations, and I want to play that other clip. This is another, I don't even want to try to say the name of their tribe. It's so hard to say, but they're out of British Columbia. Chevron is trying to make their way onto their pristine land that they live off of, and wants to put their oil drilling and cause all kinds of pollution and just have their way with their land. And this belongs to these Indians, and you will not believe what happened. Go ahead and play that, Brandon. They're all 12 seconds in.
I'm not demonstrating, I am occupying our homelands. These are ours. We decide what happens here. And we've already said no to the projects. And I know I'm talking to cameras because you're both wearing cameras. We've already proved it in court that this is ours.
We allow us to access the territory here today.
Well, we've already written the letter saying that you guys don't have our consent. Meaningful consultation and consent is when you've sat down and got our permission, and you've never done that. Everybody's pushing for money, but you're not going to be able to eat that money. You have all that money in your bank account, and you guys are destroying the planet, so agriculturists can't even grow the food that you buy in your grocery shelves. Are you guys prepared to watch your children suffer? You'll be long gone, and your children and your grandchildren are going to be the ones suffering. They'll have no clean water to drink. They'll have no food to eat because agriculturists will have no more water to grow because fracking takes too much water to produce.
We're inviting you to work with us on this project, to develop it in a way that protects the environment, that protects and promotes the Wet'suwet'en culture, and that provides benefits to the Wet'suwet'en people as meaningful participants in the project. To be able to do that, we need access onto the territory. Will you allow us access onto the territory here?
Well, you have to go through the proper process. You guys haven't done that. These pipeline projects will wipe out vast tracts of land that will prevent us from doing our berry picking, our medicines. That's what you'll be wiping out. And like I said, the fur-bearing animals, which we trap and depend on for income, and our salmon is our staple food. You'll be wiping out all our food sources.
So what you're telling us is that you will not allow us access onto the territory. We understand that. We thank you for your time here today.
We are the authority of this territory.
Yes.
The province isn't.
We brought you an offering. We've left some water, some tobacco for you.
We've got clean water right there. That's what you drink, and
Okay.
that's pollution, the plastic that adds to the landfill.
Okay.
So you could pick your water, but you don't want to.
Well, in case you're wondering if you heard right, Chevron employees offered these Native Americans up in British Columbia an offering of bottled water, probably Nestle, that has like stolen millions of gallons out of our San Bernardino mountains, and tobacco. Some nice little Swisher Sweet cigars or something like that. As someone that has a Native American heritage myself, I just found that extremely upsetting, and the fact that they would even talk to the Indians that way, extremely disrespectful. I just can't even believe it. You know, is that what they think of Native Americans? They want an offering of bottled water and tobacco. I just don't see where, you know, that was called for whatsoever. But they just want to push their way onto the land and destroy it. And this is what's, you know, we are supporting this with our tax dollars all over the world, pushing ourselves, our chemicals, our fast food on all these other countries. And it's really, really sad. And we're letting these chemical companies control our food supply and the world. And they try to make us think that, oh, we can't live without pesticides. We can't live without their GMO seeds. We can't feed the world. Again, another lie. Because most of the world is fed by small farmers. So the bottom line is we don't need them. We don't need their GMO seeds, all their pesticides. We can actually grow food much better without all of these. Our farmers have become dependent on these pesticides, on these seeds. They don't even remember what it's like to be a true farmer and grow regenerative agriculture and sustainably, saving their seeds every year. They are trying to pass laws all over the world. I happen to know that they're trying to do this in Ethiopia. They tried to do it in California. They tried to pass a law where it's illegal for me to share seeds, like a squash seed, with someone farther than 3 miles from my house. That I would be breaking the law if I shared an heirloom seed that I had saved from my last year's harvest, and I shared it with someone farther than 3 miles from my house. They're trying to make heirloom seeds illegal. These companies want to control our entire food system because control the food, control the people. And we know this is their plan. They know everyone has to have food, and if they control it, they control us. So that is why we need to garden. We need to support local farmers. We need to quit buying GMOs and these pesticides. We need to fight for our family to have the best quality, the cleanest food. You know, actually, Americans spend less of their total income on food than just about anyone else in the entire world. We spend less on food. And that's because we're being fed cheap food. They're taking like 3 ingredients, soy, corn, like canola oil, these GMOs, and they're making them into all different kinds of products. Wheat, just you go walk down the aisle and look at the ingredients. It's just a different version of the same ingredients over and over, just different versions of it. And that's what we're eating. We need to eat real food. Food that has not been processed. Anytime it's been processed in any way, shape, or form, it's not as good as the real deal, as the real fruits and vegetables, the real meats that we cook at home. And we do have a lot of recipes. We're on Pinterest. We have some great folders on Pinterest that have vegan, some of our best picks for vegan meals, vegetarian meals, for gluten-free meals, for paleo meals, for people trying to lose weight, weight loss meals. Then we got like the special stuff too, okay? And all different kinds of other information and advice. We have all that on Pinterest. Please find us on Pinterest, find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Go to our website. We're full of a wealth of information there. You know, we've got next month, we have International Coastline Day. It's like an international cleanup day for our beaches. And so start thinking about that. We got to get our own little group together and go pick up the beach and clean it someday. And I hope you'll want to join in too. So we're going to be shooting for that and doing something great for our beach and feeling good and doing a little recycling there. So something I hope that you'll think about. And we have a huge recycling section and information on what's going on with our oceans and plastic in our oceans. All that is on our website as well. So please go check all that out and go to see our Blue Monarch Project website. That's bluemonarchproject.com. Anyone local here, if you're interested in starting a monarch butterfly sanctuary in your yard, you want to have some milkweed. We have milkweed seeds. We have milkweed plants. Just contact us through Smart Health Talk or Blue Monarch Project, and we'll work on getting some of that over to you, okay? Because we're trying to bring the monarchs back here in our Inland Empire area. We used to have millions, but all the pesticide use has pretty much made them hard to even find anywhere. So we're trying to bring them back, and we hope that you'll be interested in helping us. And, of course, we'll take some donations over there, too, for our project because we need to buy milkweed seeds and try to get more plants out there, giving them away to different people in the area. And it could really use your help. And, of course, helps us with be right here with you today and bringing you all this great information. I hope you got something out of it and we've made a difference in your life for the better. And, of course, all our podcasts are up on KCAAradio.com. After the show, you can find them there, all our past podcasts. Check them out, okay? All right, and I'm Elaine McFadden, your host from Smart Health Talk, thanking you so much and asking you to please buy organic. All right, thanks for tuning in.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.